Right, episode 37. Thanks so much, guys, for listening. We are back. I am joined with my co-host, Charlie McCloy.
Hello, everyone.
First and foremost, thank you so much again to Usk Stoves for allowing us to do this, our first and our favourite sponsor. We're actually going to get a bit of a plaque for them up on the wall where we can have, potentially future sponsors up on there, getting their name up. So where the guest will sit, it will actually be behind them, so that'll be nice for them. But if you are interested in a stove or heating appliance, MP4 0JL Vale Park, I've actually learned that one now off the top of my head, for all your heating and stove appliances. So 10% off, just say, look, we're a big fan of the podcast, friends
Listen
of the
to
podcast.
the boys.
Yeah, and you can be like our elite athlete who jumps out of planes, which is pretty cool. Nicole, who also has an Usk stove. So thank you so much, Nicole, for being awesome and for buying the stove.
Yeah, cool. So, how's your week been, mate?
I'm knackered today, but I mean, as far as a week
Give
going,
me that before we fucking...
Yeah, I keep clicking things. I went back to jiu-jitsu this week, which was awesome. So I went to Amos's place.
Come on the pod.
Yeah, Ashley, please come on the podcast. He's worried about saying something he shouldn't say, but...
The power of editing prevails.
Yeah, he's really, really, for someone with whose their job is essentially teaching you how to fight, he's actually really smart, and I don't know if he's well educated or not, but he comes across like he is.
And he's fucking nails.
He's really well spoken. He's like massive, and he's got 2 cauliflower ears. It doesn't go together, but I'd really like to get Ashley on the podcast. Really good gym. Like they got almost like a barricade between the jiu-jitsu area, and they've got a strength and conditioning area, which is like rack. There's a sled track down there. It's awesome. It's fucking awesome. So it was really good to go back there. It was really humbling to know that I'm still shit at jiu-jitsu. So I went with some guy who also hadn't trained for a long time. We both, got 3 kids, and we just that was fun.
But it was to the death.
Yeah, and then I just got absolutely smashed by everyone else, and it's. I think similar, like Chaelson had said it about John Jones, but rolling with Ashley is like being trapped in a cage with a bear. There's nothing you can do. It's just however he wants to finish it, he's going to do it.
Yeah,
but it was very good, and I would absolutely advise everyone to definitely try jiu-jitsu because you know where you are on the food chain. It's definitely not at the top. But yeah, Amos's gym was fantastic. I really, really liked it. Training wise, though, apart from that, squats are going well.
180 for 5?
180 for 5, yeah. That was nice. So I think I built that with the 5-3-1 style. So I did 140 for 5, that was almost like a token, whatever.
Warm up.
160 for 3, and then I took 180 off, and I thought, right, let's. The most I've ever done with that was with you, and I got 5.
Was it?
Probably about 2 years ago, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So yeah, probably
Matched a PB.
Equal PB, potentially a lighter body weight, but whatever. It's going well. Deadlifts last week were good. Benched 120 for 5 on Monday at a silly time in the morning. So like, do as I say, not as I do, guys. If you're in the gym first thing on your own, no one else is around you. Go in the cage and put the racks up. Don't just go hell for leather, and then someone will walk into the gym and you're stuck under a barbell. But I did make it out of that one alive, so I was all right.
Yeah, don't let the 6 a.m. crew come in and you're
just like blue lying on a bed. Yeah, he went out doing what he loved.
Well, that's classic. 185. That's it's a number that I'm chasing on double, but it's that's
front squat though.
90%, 200.
Yeah.
So 90%,
90%.
5, that's fucking good going. That would.
Do you know my favourite thing in the world? I'm actually going to do it now. So I squatted 160 for 10 last week, and if anyone's ever done a 1 rep max calculator, it's not accurate, and you can't go, I squatted 140 for 7, so I've got
so many people do this to me in the past.
Right.
Like, not so much now, but like when that first came out, and it was like people would be like, oh well, the internet says that I could do 100 kilos now, and you go, well, no, you can't. So shut the fuck up.
You haven't done it though. Is it on your back? Yes or no? Nice. That's a solid set. So I've put into ChatGPT. I can squat 180 for 5. What is my max squat? Your estimated max squat is 210, which is similar to the 160 for 10. I've never squatted 210 high bar, so that would be a massive PB for me. But this is the thing, guys. So if I put in a number on there and it says, look, me and you are a good example, actually, because you're way more powerful and explosive than me. So if you can squat 180 for 5, you probably could get 215 for a single. Whereas if I can squat 180 for 5, I'm not actually good at squatting singles. I'm good at percentage work. So my 1 rep max might be more like near 200, probably like closer to 180 than 200. So it depends on the person. If you've got someone who's really, really fast, you know, a sprinter, fast twitch, whatever, they might do 180 for 5 and they might squat 220 for a single. Whereas if you're on the slow twitch end, you might get much less for a single.
Yeah.
So the main thing is, don't worry about what it says on the internet. Just get it on the bar and do it.
Just fucking actually squat it.
You look like you've had a good week.
Yeah, it's been a good week. Good week of training, really good week of training. Squatting is going really well. I was speaking to Big Dave about it.
Shout out Big Dave. He works with Anthony now, I suppose.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, I think he's a rep.
Fucking hell. There we go.
Small world.
Yeah, so I was speaking to him about it, and I'm in the unknown. So I'm in the unknown charted waters of trying new things now with squats and trying to hit all sorts of different volumes and weights. So my body is certainly feeling that. I've gone from being quite comfortable hitting percentages that I knew I could do, but maybe adding an extra rep here or there, to now hitting or trying to hit top end percentages that I've never done before, if that makes sense. Yeah. So like the 170 front squat for 3, never done that before. So my body is now trying to like adapt to that on the fly, as well as doing everything else on top of that with the accessories. And I'm just figuring out where my sort of body is going to either break down and do too much or too little. So it's an interesting time. Like I squatted on Monday, hit the 170 for 3, and then did some back offsets and some accessories and stuff like that. But now my legs today are still hurting. So it's like 2 days after, I'm still hurting. So I'm dropping my back squat session out today, so I can go heavy on Friday, and possibly push a 190 for a single, which will again be the first time that I'll try it, first time on the bar. So I'll probably have another stimulus from that, which will probably see me off until Monday. So yeah, whereas the last program was quite comfortable, squatting 3 days a week, no pain. Now I'm waking up and going, oh, okay.
Yeah, I know what
I'm a bit fucked here. But
it's a good sign though, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's good. You know, if I can hit 170 for 3, I think I got 190 for 1. If I can hit 180 for a double, I know I can definitely hit 190 for 1. So it's all numbers that are
rinse and repeat and put everything up.
Yeah, that's it. So it'll be an experience. Put it that way.
Yeah, mate. 190 front squats.
We'll have a go.
Just another thing I just thought of then, as you said about being sore. So it was almost like someone put up the hypocrisy of being sore in the gym. So if someone goes, oh, my back's really sore after deadlifting or whatever, and it could be good, it could be bad. Whereas if someone said, oh, my biceps are really sore after doing bicep curls, you'd be like, yes, win it, like that's what I wanted. But the hypocrisy was when you use your lower back and they're sore, it's almost always seen as a bad thing.
Yeah, it is a lower back exercise. Like it's gonna be sore at some point. You know what I mean? So like let it be sore.
Yeah, it's part of it. Don't shit yourself if your lower back gets a little bit sore. If it's getting to the point where it feels like my spine is going to collapse.
Yeah. If it's spinal.
Spinal.
If discs are flying everywhere, then let's listen to it. And you've got sciatica, and it's a detriment to your health. And fair enough. But if you've done big squats and your knees are a bit sore to tomorrow, then let it be.
Lower back soreness is not always the end of the world with that.
No. So I thought we'd start the rest of the pod with a couple of questions that I put out on our Instagram, because it was quite a popular one, actually. More popular than I thought it was going to be. It was from a lot of you listeners, which was good. So I put out 2 posts on our Instagram. If you don't follow it already, it is at the S&C Hour on Instagram. I put 2 questions, which was, what are the best bits of advice and worst bits of advice heard or given gym related only?
Okay.
Because I didn't want anyone to just go fucking left field and start saying all sorts. So we've got a couple that I've heard before myself, and then others that I haven't. So if we start from the beginning.
Yeah, because right. Shout out Gareth Herbert, absolute legend.
Yeah, always listening. But he said the best bit of advice he gave, he was given, was leave your ego at the door. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's really hard to learn if you think you know all the answers.
Yeah, and like you said there about jiu-jitsu, that is definitely a sport where you have to let your ego go, because you will get mauled.
It will get taken from you if you've got one.
Yeah, you will get fucked up over and over again until you have no ego left.
I had so Big Sam. Shout out Big Sam.
Yeah.
He sort of he seems a little bit curious about it in the gym the other day. And he's a fucking big guy, right? He's like 6'5", 106 kilos, like, and he's getting strong as well. And he was asking, like, yeah, but I'm just sort of bigger than these guys. And I said, you need to just go and experience it to realise that a 60-kilo man, as soon as he gets to your back,
he's gonna be like a spider monkey.
Yeah. And he was like, he like didn't have an ego at all with it, but he was just sort of, you could see he was curious about it. And I said, mate, you will love it. And then I started thinking, right, he's really big, he's really strong. Maybe you shouldn't go, because you're going to be a bit of a weapon if you actually get good at this. Like,
start turning into a fucking Terminator.
So don't bother going, Sam. Leave it.
Yeah. Do you want to read one?
This is off Chase. Shout out Chase.
She's coming on the pod soon, actually.
Yes. Not her biceps, but in quotations. My biceps are too big to get into a front rack / squat.
Yeah, that's...
Something is too tight for you to get into it, but Dmitry Klokov has probably got bigger biceps than you, and he's got an excellent front rack position. Lasher?
Yeah, the whole thing with the front rack, though, I think a lot of it is excuse. Like, I was actually speaking to Chase and trying to help her with her front squat with Mike recently. We had a FaceTime call, and a lot of the people that say, "Oh, my front rack is bad," you can't have much of a worse front rack than me. Like, my front rack is fucking dog shit. Like, if I was to hold an empty barbell in a front rack, it doesn't touch my collarbones. If I hold a 10-kilo plate either side, it doesn't touch my collarbones. But there are certain ways that you have to open everything up, and sometimes it's not just a point of, oh, my front rack's dog shit, therefore I can't front squat, or therefore I can't clean and I'm not going to do it, or the reason why I'm failing a front squat is purely because of my front rack. Yeah. You know, you have to answer the question of, right, how do you take the bar out of the rack? What's your bracing like? What's your core like? What's your lat flexibility like? What's your ankles? What's your hips? Like, there's so much more to a clean, a front squat, or whatever the movement that requires the front rack is, if it's a push, press, jerk, whatever, that you have to look at along the chain. Before then, you can just dump all of the blame on your biceps being too big or your fucking lats being too tight. But also then, yeah, lots of people, especially blokes, suffer with, like we were speaking about last week about rugby players that go into Olympic lifting, or, where you've been conditioned in one frame or one way for a long period. When you go into something as demanding as a front rack, you just need to spend the time, more time than everyone else, opening your front rack up. Now, it's mainly down to, do you want to spend that time or not? And most people don't. Because they just see it as wasted time.
You could get back to having, like, when everyone's born, we're all really supple. Unless you've had like an operation, you've got a pin through something and there's an impingement and you physically cannot get into this position, you could get back to it because it was all achievable at some point. But if you've been a prop for 20 years, the amount of time and effort it's going to take you to get to having a reasonable front rack is so long that people just aren't willing to put the effort in. And it would be interesting to see like how much time it would actually take, and presumably I would say it's achievable to get a massive improvement. You're not going to be like a fucking professional weightlifter, but it's going to be doable. And
it takes time.
Yeah, I think where you get away with yours as well, because this might be a bit tight. Your ankles, I don't know if your hips are really good, but you've got such an upright squat that this is okay, but your sort of upper back angle doesn't really deviate from that in a squat. Whereas if your hips are a little bit tighter and it shoved you forward, this position is no longer that good.
The thing with me though is, like, I'll try and find a picture of young me with no injuries and no problems in life. I used to be able to put my hands together, put them above my head, and go down into an overhead squat with my feet together, and my hands would be behind my ears. I was really, really, really mobile, and I used to really work on that all the time, but that was just I was naturally mobile, and I liked the fact that I was naturally mobile. It was only when you start putting on weight, you start getting injured, you start doing all these things where your mobility decreases, and it's suddenly now the way I am now. But what I could get back to where I was, but it would just take me a long fucking time to do it. And do I want to do it? they're the questions that you've got to kind of ask yourself.
Is it worth it? Yes or no? Again, I say it every time. The time is going to pass anyway.
Yeah. Owen Tucker, a random person told me, if I can't squat properly, don't squat at all, doing 1/4 squats. So I presume he's doing a squat up to a quarter, back down into a squat, or is he saying they're doing quarter squats?
I think he means, so they're both different scenarios, but I think he means that he was doing 1/4 squats and the person presumes he's doing them wrong. It's like,
shit squat,
if I see someone doing a good morning in the gym, I don't go, that's a shit squat. I think they're doing good mornings. And even if to the point now I see people doing things that I don't fully understand, they might be training for bobsled. Like, I don't know what they're doing. They might be doing something wrong. Usually, if you're doing, you're squatting halfway down and you look like you're struggling with mobility, you're probably just tight and struggling with mobility. But if someone's coming up to you and telling you if you can't squat properly, don't squat at all, like,
you have to, in order for you to have an opinion on something, you have to know and understand what you're talking about. And that's where people nowadays, especially with Instagram and the internet, go completely wrong, is they see something that doesn't look like something they normally do and presume that that's just wrong. So, doing 1/4 squats is a true thing. Doing quarter squats is also a movement if done for a reason. So, if you're looking at, I don't know, a sprinter or a jumper or something like that, doing like quarter of a squat with a really heavy load on their back, looking to be explosive out of the top part of the squat, to the untrained eye, you could go, oh, well, he's not fucking it in depth. Yeah. But he's doing that, or she's doing that for an actual reason for a sport. You almost have to just let it slide. You just have to go, all right, mate, just move on. Because, to also have an opinion on something, you also have to make sure that your shit is tight.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I'm saying to you, right, Sam, your squat is dog shit, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then you turn to me and look at my squat, and my squat's even worse, then opinion is not valid. If my fucking squat is A1, the best in the world, and I say, Sam, look, mate, what the fuck are you doing? Then you could possibly go, all right, well, Charlie, can you help me? Yeah. But, like, don't have an opinion on something if you can't actually fix the fucking error.
Here's the thing, though, guys. Anyone who's really good at what they're doing is never going to come up to someone that's worse than them and talk shit to them. They're probably going to try and help. And anyone who's been through and knows what all these different variations of lifts that you might get wrong and think they're doing something else, anyone that's got all of that knowledge either hasn't got time to worry about what you're doing in the gym because they're doing so much other shit, or, like I said, they will come up and actually give you something constructive to work on rather than going, don't squat at all. Matt the Paddy, I love this one. Best advice, listen to your body. The worst advice, listen to your body.
Yeah, that's a fucking great one from Matt.
So if you are, like, you're the perfect example of this. If you are due to squat today, but everything that you need to squat is still so sore from the previous session, which was, up from something you've done before, probably not bad advice is just maybe just leave it a day or miss out that session if you've got another one coming up that's really important to hit so that you come into it fresh. Like, you've got the recovery curve and you want to nail that. But then when you listen to your body, when I go home tonight and I sit down on the sofa, my body is telling me to drink chocolate milk and eat Oreos. Like, you don't have to listen to what your body wants all of the time. You've got these evolutionary traits that are just saying, just fucking get the calories in. If you're trying to lose weight, you're not actually going to starve. Your body just thinks it is. So listen to your body, but don't listen to your body.
Yeah, it's a bit of it's one that I think is becoming ever more popular with sort of, zone 2, zone 3, zone 1, zone fucking 1.5, zone 2.5. And it's like, at some point, just, you've got to go through the turning up to a session where you are aching and you still train and you end up having an amazing session. Yeah. You have to learn that through reps and reps. If you're new to training, especially, you can't just always go off of, oh, okay, I shouldn't train today because my left ankle is a bit sorer than my right ankle. I'm not going to do it. Sometimes you just have to push through. And then other times, you learn that you make the mistake and you go in, you go, fucking hell, I probably should have had a day off. But then you can always look back on that. And then you gauge your sort of soreness levels off past experiences. And that's what you just get from years and years and years and years of training. You will end up having sessions where you turn up, you think, oh God, this isn't going to fucking work today. I feel like dog shit. And it's probably the best thing you could have done because you end up going there, you loosen off, you stretch off, you get some blood pumping around your body, you feel good, leave the gym and you have less DOMs than you did if you were to just sit on the sofa for the next 2 hours waiting to recover.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good one from shout out Matt Paddy.
Couldn't agree more.
You got one there from Alex Martin.
Alex Martin, put olive oil in your protein shakes to help get the calories in. Best or worst is up for debate. So it is advice and it is contextual. So Alex, this is the context for you, Charlie. I was telling one of my younger lads, he's like, what do I do to put on more weight? And I'm like, well, probably not a bad way to go is eat relatively well, 80 to 90% whole foods, get your protein in, your rice, your sweet potatoes, get your veg and your fruit in. Eat as much as you can until you feel full. And if you're really not gaining some weight, then, you can have some more crap with it as well. So Alex comes over and he says, drink olive oil with every meal. And I said, that will work. You will put on weight, but it's probably not the best way to do it. Yeah. So when you start trying to look to put weight on, guys, your protein, whether you're cutting or bulking, doesn't need to change that much. Your fats, you have to hit a minimum of 0.3 grams per pound of body weight, just so your hormones are still there doing everything. But usually the one you fluctuate the most is going to be your carbs. So you add more carbs in around training time. You get better training, you get a better pump if you're a bodybuilder. You get better recovery if you have chocolate milk after, like the carb. It's got 4 carbs to each protein, which is like the absolute best thing you can have after training. But if you get to the point where I'm on 6,000 calories a day, I'm eating 60 grams of fats, I'm eating 200 grams of protein, I'm eating fucking 900 grams of carbs. It's really hard to get that much in. So this is when the fats come in really handy because they're so high in calories and so low in volume that you can just start adding a teaspoon, a tablespoon of olive oil to your shakes that you're already having. And if you have 3 of them a day, or you have olive oil with your eggs instead of nothing, 3 tablespoons of olive oil is going to be an extra 600 calories a day. And it takes up this much room in your stomach. For everyone listening, I just put my index finger and my thumb together and look through the middle of it. It takes up no room in your stomach and there's loads of empty calories in it. So it is really good advice for putting on weight, but again, it's contextual.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Gareth Dykes, being taught not to walk in front of lifters also taught me complete gym etiquette. Yes, I understand this. I get this. I understand it because I do it myself. But that is also something that us weightlifters think the world should know from birth. Which unfortunately for us, they do not. I think more than, because I used to think it was more for like a respect reason in the weightlifting community, which it is amongst weightlifters. You're setting up for a lift and people kind of stop and watch, not necessarily because they're kind of watching you, but they don't want to walk in front of you or interrupt your process, whatever. That's kind of the reason why, because it is distracting as fuck. When you're not used to it, if you're setting up for a lift, you look up and someone's walking through or walking past you, or they're dragging something past you or walking, whatever. It can put you off. Now, should you blame that miss, or if you do miss, should you blame that on the person? No, because at the end of the day, you should be able to lift in any environment, and it is what it is. Just strap up and go again. For me, though, it's more what I've experienced going from training in a just purely weightlifting gym where everyone knew it into a commercial gym, so one gym. It's more for me the fucking madness around people's sense of danger, and that I just find it fucking bonkers that not even. I've had so many situations where I've been at one gym where I'm snatching or I'm clean and jerking something decent, so a big weight that could hurt me or hurt someone if I end up fucking dumping it on them or dropping it or falling or whatever. And I've had a couple of occasions, some of my favorite ones. I clean and jerk 145, and as I'm in the jerk, 2 lads walk past my platform, and one boy's foot actually ventured onto my platform. So where you're set up in one gym, I'm demonstrating it for your listening viewers. You're facing outwards into the gym, so the main gym is in front of you. So these guys walked in front of me into the open space, but then the one boy stepped to the side and put his foot on my platform when my barbell is above my head with 145 kilos, and I haven't actually got my feet back together yet. So I'm in my split position with that weight above my head, and I'm a fucker for walking my jerks forward.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if this goes tits up, I'm killing this boy. Like, I'm killing it. I've had it where a girl has sat on the end of my platform, facing the outward, so her back is to me while I'm about to snatch something like 110. I'm like, if I drop this 110 on you, you're dead. Like, this isn't fucking, like, and it's that kind of thing that I find mental, where in a commercial gym, especially when there's a class environment and you see a weightlifter in the corner of a room and you see maybe someone doing double unders in front of them. You go, why? Why is the coach not said to them, just have a bit of sense?
Yeah.
Don't whip the fucking person who's got a barbell above their head, please. Like, move away from them.
I've seen people in a busy CrossFit gym, and I know you work in one as well, but barbells over the head, 60 kilos going back and forth. Barbell over the head, someone like walking under the barbell, trying to get, oh, sorry, let me just squeeze through it, and then Sandra's dead.
Yeah. It is one of those ones where I think it is natural selection at that point. I think you just have to let it happen once in the gym for people to realise, like, this is fucking
someone's
serious.
going to get us cancelled now because they're, aunties, mothers, brothers, sister-in-law walked under a barbell and got killed at JD gym.
But it is what it is. Like, I always say in my weightlifting classes, like, I'll always say, just be mindful, people. Like, if you're stripping a bar off and you got your back to someone and they're about to do a clean and jerk, just be mindful that when you pull that plate off, you don't fucking fall into them when they've got a barbell above their head. Because one, you're going to hurt them, and two, you're going to hurt yourself, which is possibly going to be death, because you've got 100 kilos coming down from 7 foot tall onto your body.
Do you know the worst one that can't be avoided? And Berger did it to one of the boys in the gym. He had 35 kilos, and the 5 kilo bumper plates are like this thin.
Oh, it bounced.
Oh my God, sideways. Do you know have you ever hit yourself with a scooter in the ankle?
Yeah.
It was that. Right, it went straight into his ankle bone and just fucking took him out. And he was out for a long time.
Mate, I did that with 160 kilos. Did it on a front squat. I was front squatting until failure. And I stood up halfway, and the squat rack was basically a rack with a 90-degree almost angle at the bottom of it, which was like a ramp. And I was standing too close to the rack. And I was already almost passing out, dropped it, hit the ramp, shot into me, smashed both of my shins, nearly made me fucking flip over the top of it. And I was like, oh, fucking hell. I was like, oh, God, I'm all right. Honestly, the bruises on my shins, it was black.
I'd rather it almost wipe you out at that point, because if it just pins you and you go...
Yeah, it hit me and then slid me back. I was like scraping... it was fucking nasty. But yeah, please just have a bit of sense when you're in the gym environment.
Next one over.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, Josh Owens, top lad. Atmosphere is the most important bit of kit to look for in any gym. That's really cool. I like that as an answer.
In a similar analogy, like, you can have not the best kit in the world, but a great gym, in the sense of I can have not a great job that I enjoy doing, but if I'm there with all my mates doing it and it's a good crack, it's the best job in the world.
I think it's a bit of a niche. It's a bit of a niche one until you go like looking for it, though, innit? You go to a commercial gym and you're just training with your headphones on, and you might meet a few boys or a few girls or whatever, and you make friends, and maybe you go to the gym and you have a training buddy and stuff like that. But it's different to when the whole gym is like a focal point of your day, where, it's like, right, I'm going to walk in and there's 15 to 20 other people in there all doing the same thing as me.
I know them all on first name basis.
We're good mates
together.
It's an amazing feeling, and if you can find a place near you, or if you need to travel, I would highly suggest do so. But yeah, there was going on from. So Gareth Dykes was one of the questions. He posted something on his Instagram, which I thought was really nice, actually, and really cool. He said that he coached at a competition for the first time with one of his athletes, at Olympic lifting competition. And it just it was the first time that I've actually seen a coach say that, because usually coaches are trying to be more experienced or come across more experienced than maybe they are. Like, everyone now is trying to buy experience rather than just doing the experience, if that makes sense. And in his case, he said he had a girl who he coaches, he took her to a competition. By all means, I think she did really well. And I messaged him straight away and said, look, congratulations, mate, like, well done. And he said, oh, no, I'll pass it on to her. And I was like, no, I'm not saying it to her. I would say it to her, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm saying this to you. Like, congrats. It's a big thing being in control of a human who is competing at anything, whether it's rugby, football, Olympic lifting, whatever it is. It's a big thing.
Yeah. It's a lot of responsibility.
And it just brought me back to the feelings of when I did my first competitions with people, and like all the emotions you feel, and all the emotions that are totally new. Like competing yourself, you have the nerves, the anxiety, the adrenaline, the excitement, everything. But everything's should be taken out of your control. Like you're very much a robot in that sense of you've just got to stand up, lift, sit down, stand up, lift, sit down, and hopefully you make lifts and hopefully you do well. Whereas with a coach, it's so much more. You have to make sure that they're there on time. They weigh in well. They warm up well. The jumps are right. If they miss, how they feel. You have to keep them motivated. You have to there's so many other aspects to coaching at a competition that people don't necessarily see or understand until you've actually done it yourself. Like people would claim to say, oh yeah, I could read the board. I could do this. I understand that. And that's all well and good. That is something that you have to learn to read the board. But unless you've got someone teaching you that, it is quite a daunting process. And it's more just the management of a person is quite a deep thing. So if
you've got no one to teach you that, is it a lot of like learning in the job and on the moment and making mistakes and correcting it?
You'll always I've made plenty of mistakes. I've had plenty of help. I've had plenty of amazing times, plenty of not so good times, and you just learn from every single one. You'll someone like Gareth, if his athlete ever bombs, hopefully touch wood she never does, but likelihood is if she competes long enough, she probably end up will. That's a scenario. It's a horrible scenario, but it's like, how do I deal with that? It's like, if you've never had an athlete that bombed before, I luckily had bombed. So I understood the feeling that person was about to go through. As soon as they missed that last lift, your brain goes, oh shit, what do I say? What do I do? How do I convince this person it's okay? How can I bring them through this pit of despair? And you have to do that all in seconds, minutes. You have to decide, do I speak? Do I not speak? Does she or he need an arm around them? Do they need me to leave them alone? Do they need me to... And you decide this on the relationship you build with the athlete. But yeah, you learn it on the fly, and you learn how I learned to read the board. I'm really... When I first started, luckily, my first ever competition was an in-house competition with Willpower. And it was when I was doing my coaching badges, and Justin said to me, look, you're not going to coach. You're just going to load bars when I tell you to load bars. And after each group, we'll look at the board and I'll explain to you what's happened. And I was like, yeah, I'm all ears. So he basically just said to me, look, load his bar, load his bar, load his bar, load his bar. And I just kept doing it. And I understood then there was a bit of a rhythm. There was a bit of sort of back and forth between athletes. There was, when the competition heated up, it was quicker. When it was sort of slower, it was a bit more chilled. And I started to understand that. And then he would kind of say to me, look at the board. This was the order. This is why. But even after that, it takes, when you do it on your own and you've got no one there to tell you when to load the bar or tell you when to go, it's fucking daunting. It's scary as fuck, because you think, if I get this wrong, it's not only me, it's them. It's their whole, and they're looking at you going, come on, help me.
Justin said something about the responsibility and how daunting it is years ago to me about if I'm not emotionally invested in this athlete's career, they've trusted me with their career, their sporting career, whether it pays the bills or not. This is their life. They've entrusted me with. He's like, if you don't care and if you're not in this for the right reasons, it's just the fucking wrong job for you. Yeah, it's not just a job to make money. You have to genuinely want these people to do well.
Yeah. So when I did my very first competition, I remember reading the board it was like something from the Matrix. It was
ones and zeros.
Yeah, I was looking at it and I was like, I couldn't make much sense of it. And I was really struggling, but I was trying to figure out ways of getting around the board. And for the first 2 or 3 competitions I didn't actually read the board, which is fucking mental now looking back at it. Basically what I did was I learned the people's names that were in my group, I went around the group beforehand. I didn't say, what's your name? But I just went, good luck, mate. What's your name? And or I'd be like, good luck, I'm Charlie. And you'd be like, oh, good luck, I'm Tom. And I would look at the board and go, right, my athlete is very close to Tom in terms of openers. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to watch what Tom's coach does, and I'm going to do what they do. And it was a bit of fucking blind hope that I just hoped that Tom's coach knew what the fuck he was doing. Because if he was waiting on me, we're both going, oh, fuck. And it worked. But then I decided, right, okay, I really need to sit down here.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to take this seriously, I need to learn the ways and the horrible points, like trying to kilo someone, or if you get kiloed, what to do, timed out, timed in, 2 minutes, 1 minute, like all these things. And you just learn, and you get better and better. But I asked, what was it like for new coaches? What were their experiences like? And we've got a couple, as it was a bit of a niche one. We got Matt the Paddy. It was fucking terrifying, which, he said, I was really lucky to have Dave Sawyer to help me through it. Now, Dave Sawyer's Mr. GB weightlifting, like, I think he's been doing it, I fuck knows, 50 years, 40 years. So to have, it's almost...
You can't ask for better than that.
You can't ask for someone who's more experienced in the sport than to have that shadow you. And if he did shadow Matt, then that's awesome. Matt actually made a really good video the other day talking about coaches should learn almost like the dark arts of weightlifting in terms of the kiloing, the times, the stuff like that. Because again, if it happens to you, it's not so much even to do it to someone, it's just in case it happens to you. Like Meg did it to me by accident at our own competition.
Cheers, Meg.
And it was like, yeah, great, cheers, Meg. But because it happened, I understood what happened, and I understood that, okay, now I need to do something to change that. And I did, and it was fine. But when it happens to you the first time, and you were expecting something, and then someone goes, no, Charles, you're out. And you're like, oh, fuck. You just suddenly, like, you don't understand, and you get a bit flustered. So that was it. If you don't follow him, you probably follow him already, Matt Paddy. But just go watch that video if you're a coach. It's a really good one. Gareth said, watching your athlete miss their opener in a way they have never missed is terrifying. Fucking yes, it is. Watching what's even more terrifying is watching your athlete miss their first 2 lifts. Because then you are on you're on the precipice of bomb territory there. And
when it's something they're not used to doing in training as well, you're like, what is going on now?
And it's usually the most annoying thing for people is it's usually a weight they've done about fucking 40 million times. And they've done it.
Just nerves? Is it the day?
Yeah, it can be. It can be nerves. It can be the occasion. It can be anything. It can just be a bad day. But yeah, watching your athlete miss their opener is a bit. You soon learn though, it's all right. Like I've had people miss their opener but still PB. It's like sometimes it's to do with the miss as well. It's like if they miss it and they like totally clark it, like it is like there is no fucking chance that they're gonna make this lift.
Yeah.
Then you're in a fucking real pit of despair because now you have to summon this like fucking holy ghost to pull this lift out their ass, and you have to really like motivate them and fire up and get to the reason why they're not doing it, and then almost give them this boost that makes them do it. So that's the scary point of that. Josh Owens, he said, fuck the warm-up, fuck the timings, couldn't do basic maths, still got medals. Astounding. Yeah, but it's true. It's fucking true, mate. And like I said, if I can do a competition and not read the board,
and still make
it through and still get to the end of a competition, and you end up sometimes, in his case, obviously medals. The warm up is horrible, and you can't help it sometimes. Like some warm ups, you have this really, really good plan in your head, and I'll always write things down, or I used to especially write everything down that I wanted to have happen. A bit like ADHD like that. I was like, right, this has to be
in this order.
Yeah, this has to be everything that happens in this time period. And then you soon work out that fucking shit don't work, and you have to sometimes work on the fly, and sometimes warm-ups are way longer than you expected, and some warm-ups are like 5 minutes. Yeah. So you either shit or bust on a lot of it, and you make stuff up on the spot, but that comes through experience. Pewee, yeah, big dog. I remember him speaking about it actually on the pod. He said literally just a bit overwhelmed and like, okay, here we go. Yeah, you do get that feeling of, okay, the time is on, here we go, we've got X amount of lifts, and it is like that. You're kind of looking at the board and you turn to your athlete and you go, 7 lifts then you, and then it's 5 lifts then you, 3 lifts then you, 1 lift then you, and then you go, you're out. And it's like, right, here we go, we're in. And as soon as, it's almost, for me, it's almost the warm-up is the scariest part. I don't know why. I find it's like
anticipation.
Because if I get the timing right or wrong on the warm-up, it's my fault. If they miss their lifts out on the platform, it's kind of on them. Because I've got you to the church on time, or I've got you to the church in one piece.
Yes.
You've just got to fucking do the work and make some lifts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, if I clerk this warm-up or fuck this warm-up up too much, where you're too long and you're cold, or you're too fucking hot going into it.
Yeah.
That's on me. Like, I'll have to turn to you at the end of the competition. I've said it plenty of times to people. I've said, like, fucking hell, that warm-up was long, wasn't it? Or, God, that warm-up was quick, well done. Or, you know, I've always given them props to it. But that comes from it. I got asked as well to do with this question by one of the boys, and they said, to cap it all off, said, if I had to give one piece of advice for backroom coaching, what would it be? And I said, just don't show that you're panicking. Mm-hmm. That's the main bit of advice. Like, you have to portray to your athlete that you know exactly what's going on, exactly what's happening. You have to portray that you are cool, calm, collected, motivated, fired up, whatever it is. But do not fucking panic, because especially if you've got a new lifter who's competing for, you know, first time or not experienced, they're new to it all as well. So if they see you running around like a blue ass fly, flapping your arms around and going, oh, okay, now what's going on? They immediately absorb that energy and think that something is wrong. So they will go on to their lifts, or their next lift in the warm up, or their next lift on the platform, with this thing of, oh my God, something went wrong. I don't know what's gone on because my coach doesn't tell me, but he just looks like he's fucking running around the room like a blue ass fly.
Yeah.
So the main thing for me, you can learn the board, you can learn the timings, you can learn the dark arts, you can learn all of that, but just don't fucking panic. Be there to motivate your person, but just don't panic.
It passes on to everyone else then if you're running around like a blue ass fly. But it's good advice for any situation. Have you heard of the swan analogy when it comes to that?
No.
So you got a swan gliding along the top of the water, and that's all you can see. And you think, you know, it's quite graceful, it's quite relaxed, it knows what it's doing. That's what you have to look like. And under the water, you could be flapping like fuck with your legs, but no one ever knows that. And that's almost like how you have to remain for when you're coaching, or when you're in a business meeting, or you know, whenever the fuck you need to not show that you're actually stressed.
Be the fucking swan.
Be the swan. What was it? Be the penguin?
Be the penguin. Yeah.
Forgot about the
Go
fucking
to the
penguin.
mountains.
This next one was a fun one. I think we both sort of saw this on a podcast.
Yeah. We put our own little twist on it though.
Yeah. Do you want to read it out?
So there's a topic, and it was, if you were a thief, but you could only steal things that would slightly inconvenience the person, what would you steal? Now, we're going to put our own little twist on it and say, if you were a thief that could only steal things that could slightly inconvenience the gym goer, what would you steal from a gym goer's bag?
One headphone.
Yeah.
Because it's a pain in the ass if one of them's dead, or you can sort of half hear your music, so you can't get in the zone enough to actually like lock in with it.
See, I could go even more niche with that headphone. I'd take the end of the headphone off. I'd leave the 2 headphones, but take the
the rubber bit, and they're kind of hanging in your ear.
Yeah.
I'd take one lifting strap.
Yeah, one lifting strap. Yeah, that would be annoying.
I would take I suppose you can get away with the lifters because they got a Velcro strap on them, but take the laces out of your shoes.
See, like, I've gone even more niche. I've gone like to the point of you could continue training, but it would just piss you off.
Yeah.
So like I said, I take one knee sleeve, but replace it with a knee sleeve that is either slightly too small or slightly too big. So you've got like a right leg that's perfect, your normal knee sleeve, and then one that's you're like, oh, fuck, no, it's just loose. It's just all like, fucking hell,
but they don't know that it's been
they don't know that it's been replaced. That would fuck me off, because I've done that a couple of times where I've gone to the gym with no knee sleeves. I remember I wore Geordies once. I actually PB'd that day, but I PB'd my clean. But I got to the gym, no knee sleeves, and he was like, oh, try mine on. And they're like fucking
massive,
XXLs, and I put them on, and they were like fucking, it was just basically like lightly hugging my knee. You know what I mean?
I had a belt on the other day that was, I've put on a little bit of weight again now. It was just too big. And it was just to the point where I could feel it like
sliding
just
a little
moving.
bit.
I thought, this isn't the one. And then I put the other old one on and it was just too small. It's like I couldn't find that fucking Goldilocks belt in the middle.
Yeah.
I should probably buy my own.
I put the screw from a CrossFitter's rope.
Yeah.
You know when you have the adjustable rope?
Yeah.
Or what I would do is I just loosen it. So when they're skipping mid-double under, it just fucking
Just moves
flies
a little
off.
bit, yeah.
And you just know that you are never finding that fucking
good
bit
luck
ever
looking
again.
for that one.
The shaker lid for your protein shake.
Yeah, you'd have to be there with like a spoon
Yeah, you're
and
just fucking stirring it forever.
Or the mesh ball in it that you take out. Because otherwise you do it and you get all the little clumps around the bottom corner and things like that.
I put a one for liquid chalk. I just dry the liquid chalk.
Leave the lid off it.
And you're just left with this fucking rock hard thing. But yeah, you can go all sorts.
None of these are the end of the world. They're just a minor inconvenience. What was the actual video? If you could steal something from someone's house?
Yeah, and you would like steal the bottom of a kettle, or like take like the. What is it?
The phone chargers and things like that.
Yeah, take the lead.
HDMI cables.
Yeah, HDMI cables. Yeah.
Shit that you don't realise until it's gone.
Yeah.
An inconvenience that happened to me was I was doing my books, and everything I earn, I put in a book. I write it all down because things go missing off your phone. And I went to do my books, and 5 months were missing.
Oh.
And on the 6th month, there was a picture of a plant pot with a flower. So the kids had been in my book, ripped April, May, June, July, August out of my books, and fuck knows where they are. And then on September, there was a lovely picture of a flower drawn over all the information
give that to
I
the
knew.
accountant. Just
Yeah,
say,
mate,
look,
figure it
I've
out.
done fucking 6 months solid here. Here's the next. Then just have kids' drawings.
That took me 3 hours to go through and find
5
months of bank stuff.
Yeah, so leave. I'll make this a clip. Leave in the comments below what you would steal from a gym goer's bag to just slightly inconvenience. I'm not saying because if you take a lifter from someone, if you take one shoe from someone, you're not going to train. Like you're not going to do that thing. But I want it to be enough of a pain that you can still just fucking train, but you just know that they're not going to have the best of sessions.
If they're set on getting to the gym, I'm having my pre-workout, and you've got this routine like you with your ADHD, and the pre-workout isn't there, or it's all clumpy and they've taken the silicia gel out of the middle of it, and you're like, fuck. That doesn't ruin your session, but you're like, I'm not going to enjoy this as much as I thought I would.
Yeah. We've got a topic here that I've written down. I've put my gripes with loophole mentality in high rocks and CrossFit competitions, or just not so much even that, like grid league and stuff like that. Like I'm not having a go purely at high rocks and CrossFit. And the loophole mentality being what I'm seeing now a lot of online and just in my gym in general. And I'm saying this because I witnessed it the other day. It's something that I always have to remind people of, that there is no loopholes. So it's like if I say, if the wall ball stops moving, or if I say, right, we're doing a workout, and every time you stop doing wall balls, you have to do 3 burpees, right? That makes sense. Right, if I stop doing this wall ball at any point, right, the first question I get asked is, what happens if I'm just holding the wall ball? That stopped. What happens if I lean up against the wall with my chest on it? That stopped.
If you have to question it,
that's a loophole mentality. That is, I don't want to do the burpees, but I also don't want to do the wall balls. And I see that a lot more in CrossFit and high rocks and stuff like that, where they're trying to find a way of making the original exercise that little bit easier. And I get it, because you're trying to shave tenths of seconds off. But it does get to a point where I just look at it and go, just do the fucking thing. Just do the exercise that it was, if it was telling you to, the example I've written down, I watched someone at a high rocks event, so at a proper high rocks event, push the sled by sitting on it backwards, leaning up against the weight, and then shuffling backwards with his feet, pushing the sled. And the caption was the way that the new way to push a sled that high rocks doesn't want you to know. And I was just like,
it's probably harder.
Yeah, it's really hard. Like, that's still hard. It's not like you're just suddenly shaving minutes off what you're doing. No. And you're just looking for an easier way in a thing that's just generally hard.
I think they're reinventing the wheel at that point.
Yeah.
But it's like if we're doing step overs over a box in class, and you say, right, you're not allowed to touch your hands on your knees and push yourself up as you're going over the box. That's a no rep. You're not allowed to do it. It's got to be your legs. And someone leans in and they got their elbow on their knee and like, it's my elbow, it's my elbow. It's the same fucking thing. All right?
It's the loophole.
If you have to question it, it's probably not allowed.
Yeah. The thing that I don't get is if you spent less time trying to find a loophole and put that time into actually doing the exercise, you wouldn't need the loophole.
Yeah.
Like, if you spent enough time not sitting on the sled pushing it and you actually just pushed the sled, you would be good enough to push the sled.
Yeah.
No problems at all.
Look at the best people in the world are doing it and they're not looking for loopholes. They're just better at what they're doing.
Yeah. And it's almost now what they're trying to do in CrossFit is like they're pushing the boundaries of the rules that now it's creating arguments online about the standards that are being upheld.
Yeah.
So it's like you see not so much at the games because it's so fucking hyper focused on the games. Like there's so many cameras and so many this, but you see like nationals or like I saw a competition that was going on. It was probably like just a fun competition somewhere, and a guy was doing box jumps, and he was clearly like the rules state that you jump up, both feet have to touch the top of the box, and then you come down. And it looked like he was doing some mad fucking single leg crab over the top of the box, which clearly showed that on some of the reps, it was like you were barely touching with the other foot, and if you are literally like for a millisecond. Now you could argue, well, he still touched it, but it's so hard to judge. That judges are then getting stick going, why aren't you no repping?
Yeah.
But you could look at it from the judge's point of view and going, well, I'm looking at it and I'm actually
not seeing what I need.
Yeah, it's like you then just create more and more arguments.
Your job as an athlete in that situation is to make the judge's job as easy as possible. It's so much easier for everyone if you just do it correctly. And the fittest person is still going to win. If you're just fitter, you're going to do more box jumps than the other person, whether they're cheating or not. There was a guy who massively cheated the rower in one of the qualifiers, where if you pulled it really hard once and you left it in one of the old model rowers, 7 seconds and sat there, and you pulled it again, it would do like 7 calories without ticking over. So this guy did it. The workout was like, let's say 50 calorie buy-in. So he did it.
In about 3 pulls.
No, did it, but it took so much. It took a similar time to do it, but his heart rate was so low because he did like 8 pulls or whatever. And he still didn't win the workout. There were people that legitimately rode the 50 calories and he came like 7th. Like they still beat him because they were just better. And then obviously CrossFit looked at Hillier looked at it.
Of course he did,
and called him up on it. And then he got banned for that. His score got cancelled.
Yeah, that's fair. But that's fair. Like that's fair enough. I think you're leaving yourself open to question, where if you just did the workout properly, you wouldn't be questioned and your score would be perfectly valid and you wouldn't have this big drama around you. Whereas I think some people actually like having that drama around them all the time because one, it is content and it eyes on you and money, you turn it in, whatever. But I just think, like, for the sake of arguing every single day of your life on a new movement that, oh, I didn't lock this out, or you did lock this out, or you didn't put your feet down, or what, it's just like, for me, it just winds me up. This whole, I'd rather just find a loophole in the rules to make me quicker than just getting quicker.
Just get better.
Yeah. The total opposite to that loophole mentality was MJ Egan or Mike Egan at the Go One More race. Now, I was talking to you about this beforehand, and I've actually made a standalone post on our Instagram, so go watch that.
So I saw the clip of this, but I didn't know the extent of what he actually did. So for anyone who's questioning it, there's a gentleman who was in the military. I think he's had his
combat
legs.
veteran, he's got no legs.
No legs, so he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And he's there shuffling himself backwards with his hands through the mud, grabbing hold of his wheelchair and dragging it 6 inches at a time through the mud on this endurance race.
Yeah. So it's called the Go One More race. Now it's going sort of more and more viral now with more and more people trying to do it. But it's
Nick Beer.
a massive last man standing event. And it literally is the last man. Like once you're out, once everyone's gone, that's when it finishes. There is no start, stop, or like start distance, finish distance. It is literally, it could go on, and it has done for like days and days and days and days until everyone's just fucked. But the main part of the event is you run in his case, you wheel or you run a 4.2 mile loop every hour on the hour until there's only one person left, and they are then declared the winner. But you have to complete the loop for it to have to continue on with the race.
Yeah, like winner stays on.
If you finish the 4.2 mile loop and you have 10 minutes left, well, then you have 10 minutes to break, and then you're into the next one.
Mate,
and
4.2 miles is 6.76 kilometers.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it would take you to run 6.7. Like, I could do one in an hour, and then the next hour would be pretty ropey.
Yeah. So the race that he did, he lasted 27 hours. So 27 hours.
Doing that in a fucking wheelchair?
Doing that in a wheelchair and covered 177k. And it's just a fucking loop. You know how fucking mind-blowing that is? You know, like, there's, like, seeing the same things over and over and over again for 27 hours. Yeah. Just imagine just running around Mamilad Estate for 27 hours, seeing the same things over and over again. And he reached the top 28, and he outlasted 117 competitors. And to be fair, he probably would have lasted a lot longer. It was purely the fact that it rained and the course got so muddy that his wheelchair got so jammed up with mud that, like you said, he basically had to jump off, basically
drag it,
slide back, drag it, slide back. And there's just this clip, right? For me, it's one of the, like, I watched it so many times, and the whole video is on YouTube. I think it's amazing. If you want to go and watch it, go watch it. It just makes you realize you've really got fuck all to complain about.
Yeah.
Like me saying about my legs being tired, like fuck you. Like, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, this guy has been going for 24 hours or whatever it was, and he's still there. And he's like, in the clip, it's about 3 or 4 minutes long, and he's off the wheelchair and he's dragging it. And there is not one person encouraging. There's no one's encouraging him.
Yeah.
All you can hear is crickets and the sound of his breathing. He's not grimacing. He's not complaining. He's not moaning. He's not saying like, "Oh, my fucking wheelchair's fucked. I better stop." Yeah. Or like, there is no bullshit. It is literally just him dragging a wheelchair through the mud. And you just listen to that clip. And I just watched it and I just thought, wow, like, that is the depths of, like, that's as deep as you can go. Like, that is as deep as you can go. Like, and then I saw other clips of he just leaves the wheelchair there and he starts like basically crawling on his hands to try and get through. And I just think, fuck, fair play, mate. Like, you can't get much more, like, what's the word? Like, that is the depths of hell. Like, that is, you are just you on your own. Like, there is no fucking...
No one's cheering you on. There's no prize at the end of this. You've already, because you said he was already like out lose. At this point. Yeah, you're not going to win.
You're going to lose. Like, and he, you know, there was a lot of things that he put out and said that he needed to go through in order to help with his sort of, I don't want to say PTSD, but I know like he had fallen comrades, and he said that the 27th hour taught him a lot and helped him grieve and you know, sort of, and that in itself is fucking incredible. But yeah, the whole thing in itself is incredible. To do 27 hours anyway is incredible.
Yeah.
But to do it in a wheelchair is even more incredible. But to do it also then with a fucked wheelchair is just, it just blows my mind.
And no legs, dragging yourself through the mud.
These fucking ultras, like, I'm not an endurance athlete. I'm not an endurance sports fan or anything like that. But just going through that video, like, there was a video, I was speaking to you about it. There was a guy who had been doing it for, again, similar time, sort of like 30 odd hours. And he sat in a chair, and he's got a support team around him, and he just looks fucking out of it. And they're trying to communicate with him, saying, "Do you want to put a jacket on? Do you want a drink? Do you want some food?" And they're asking him these questions. He's just not responsive.
Yeah.
And the guy gets quite worried, and he's like, "Look, speak to me. And the guy's led down, and he just goes, "Can you sit me up?" And he sits him up. And then all you hear in the background is 30 seconds. And I was like, what was that? And then they're like, 20 seconds. And the guy goes, "Stand me up." And they stand him up, and he goes, 10, 9. And I was thinking, what the fuck are they doing? And then they were like, 3, 2, 1. And the next hour started. And I was just like, holy shit. And this guy just grabs a bottle of water and he's just hobbled.
Yeah,
He's just hobbled.
shuffling.
Like you just see like a pack of 20 people go off on their own and they're all just mangled bodies like zombies. And you just thought, wow, he's still going out on it. You know, I thought fucking fair play to him, you know.
Yeah, it's not my bag. It's not something that I'm particularly interested in doing at the minute, but I think you can appreciate the levels that people take themselves to for it.
Yeah, and like the whole, like they were saying, like they were hallucinating, and like you could see, like they're so sleep deprived and food deprived, and just everything is just going wrong at that point. You know?
That's what I was gonna say. So the sleep deprivation bit is, you know, when you get REM sleep and you dream and stuff, and if you don't actually get that, your body will just go, well, we need it anyway, and it just takes it from you when you're awake. So you're essentially, you dream when you're awake, so it's like you're hallucinating, but you're just so out of it at that point. You don't know what's going on.
So shout out Mike Egan and fuck off anyone who's finding loopholes. Pretty much.
Do you want to finish on?
Yeah. So I thought, right. So I've been deep scouring the web, aka ChatGPT and Google, for some interesting sports kind of facts. And to be honest, lots of them were kind of ones that you know, like Jesse Owens and like the kind of stories behind it. And like, I don't want to kind of read to people things that they already know, and I don't want to, whatever, make it boring. But have you heard of, or do you know what the longest marathon time ever was?
No.
So it was 54 years, 8 months, 6 days, 5 hours and 32 minutes.
How the fuck does this...
So, right.
Go on.
Welcome to my story. I've lured you in. So there was a Japanese marathon runner called Shizo Kanekuri. And
he was shit, obviously.
No. He was actually... So in Japan, before the 1912 Stockholm Olympics, he was the favourite going into it. So in marathon running in Japan... He was like the LeBron James, the Michael Jordan.
Okay.
He was apparently meant to be the fucking dog's bollocks. And before that 1912 Stockholm Olympics, allegedly, he set a world record in a marathon meet in Japan, so in his home nations. So Japan hadn't entered anyone into that side of the sport before. So he was like the fucking,
first one,
the figurehead. But anyway, it's in Stockholm. So as he's traveling to Stockholm, there was a couple of things that went against him in his way. So the travel took 11 days by train. So that's pretty grim, So 11 days on a train in 1912.
Japan to
it's
Sweden.
Not going to be like, it's not going to be like the cushy trains that you get now. It's, probably...
He sat on top of it like an Indian train.
Yeah, he's going to be absolutely battered by the time he gets there. Another thing was his own beliefs got in the way, and his own beliefs around hydration and perspiration, so sweating. So he believed that if an athlete, they would tire quicker if they perspired. So if he drank and then sweat, it basically had this belief that it would make him more tired. So basically what he did was he didn't drink. So he didn't drink water. So he was dehydrated to fuck.
Right.
So this was before, obviously,
science.
Nutrition. So basically he was dehydrated. It took him 11 days to get there. And also his training partner and his competitor was ill. So for the full 11 days, he shared a cabin with someone who was already ill. He was dehydrated, not drinking water, and it took him 11 days. So that's not fucking ideal.
No.
Anyway, on race day, the weather was also...
Sorry, Charlie's wrote down, on race day, he fucked it.
Yeah. Basically, on the race day, he completely fucked it. So bearing in mind he hasn't drunk any water, on the day of the race, the weather was 32 degrees.
Okay.
So it fucking fried him. And... he tried to carry on because obviously Japan were kind of riding their hopes on him for, big things. Yeah. And he carried on. And then eventually he passed out. He just lost it, passed out, side the road, just stopped. Anyway, a local family took him in because he was just out there on the horse, fucked. They took him in and basically once he woke up, they nursed him back to health. And they said he basically had the choice of, right, I either go back to the race now and go back to the marshals and say, I've DNF'd, like I fucked it. And then in his own head, he saw that as a massive failure for Japan. Or he sneaks back to Japan under the radar and then doesn't have all this sort of like publicity, or not so much media, but like this hype around him coming home isn't like this massive failure. Like he's coming home and everyone's like, oh yeah, and then they realize that he didn't even complete the race. Okay. So basically, he goes back to Japan privately to not shame himself in his country.
They're quite big on that, aren't they?
Oh yeah, it's huge.
What's it called?
The samurai death. Yeah. What he also didn't realize was on the day that he passed out, also half of the contestants also pulled out. So it wasn't actually that bad. Like he passed out, but he thought he was the only one. But pretty much half of the race did as well. So when he got back to Japan, he had this. He had a massive say in athletics in Japan. Like the way their athletics was run was a lot to do with him, and he influenced a lot of it. And he actually also went back and did 2 more Olympics. So he did 2 more Olympic Games. He had a massive thing in Japan about it. But in Sweden, or Stockholm, where they did the race, they reported him as missing. Because obviously the competitors have finished the race.
Yeah, where's he gone?
And where the fuck's he gone? He hasn't told anyone he's going back to Japan. So everyone in Stockholm was like, right, this guy's a missing guy. He's missing. And obviously without the help of social media, you can't really find out that a guy in Japan has made it home safely.
Yeah,
it's just to local knowledge. He's
just gone,
where the fuck's he gone? So then local authorities then just couldn't find him, and he was declared missing for 50 years because they were like, where the fuck has he gone?
Yeah.
Anyway, because of his time going back to Japan and having that influence in athletics, and he also went back to Olympics and stuff like that, a Swedish media company saw him and was like, well, he's not missing. He's actually...
50 years later?
Yeah, they were
How
like...
the fuck did they recognize
so
him?
they were like, because his name, he's been in the history books, he's in the Olympics, and obviously, you know, as social media and as things start to, like books and whatever come out, you know, they figured out that, okay, he actually made it back to Japan. So when they did all this research on him, they traveled out to Japan and said to him, we've got an interesting piece. Would you like to come back and complete the marathon that you once started?
Yeah.
And he said yes, but he was 75 years old.
Oh my God.
So he agreed, and in March 1967, he completed the race and was quoted saying, it was a long trip. Along the way, I got married, had 6 kids and 10 grandchildren. But he completed the race. I thought that's fucking cool.
Fair play.
So, the longest marathon ever to date is 54 years, 8 months, 6 days, 5 hours and 32 minutes.
That's pretty
much
cool.
That's pretty much how long that would take me.
I was going to say, imagine having to work out how long that actually took from the second you started.
So 54 years, 8 months, 6 days, 5 hours and 32 minutes.
I think I could do it in 6 days, 5 hours and 22 minutes.
I think I could probably do it in 54 years. That's about as good as I'm going to get it.
That's it.
No, that's cool. So I'm going to try and think of a couple more as we go through
Max
podcast.
facts.
Max
I like
facts.
It doesn't really work for me because nothing really rhymes with Sam. Bit of alliteration. Sam stories.
Yeah, we're gonna finish though.
Oh fuck it! Is this
on another blind ranking?
You fucking dick.
So we're gonna blind rank a top 5. Top 5.
Just for everyone listening, right? I've got 3 of these saved on my phone for Charlie, and he didn't tell me he's got one for me because we're going to do them separately after. So he's sprung this on me.
Yeah.
Blind ranking. So I put them in order, and I'm stuck with it at the end.
Yeah. Right, okay. So, right. So we're going to go blind ranking top 5 movie characters, gym edition.
Oh my God.
Okay. So we have got, first of all, The Rock in Pain and Gain.
Right, he's a bit of a loose cannon in it.
He's an absolute fucking juggernaut.
What am I basing it on? How big they are?
Anything you want. The way he looks, the way he character, whatever you want to do. So that's...
I'll put him... If I go number 3 in the middle, I can base it off that because he is an absolute lunatic in it, and I think he's got a coke addiction. So that's going to swipe him down a few as far as, you know, being a morally good person.
Okay, Jean-Claude Van Damme in Kickboxer. He's shredded to fuck.
Yeah, he looks really
Total
good.
opposite.
The only problem is though, this is before my time.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm not like.
If you Google him, fuck. Yeah. He is in some serious.
Anyone
shit.
from the 80s who can be like, it was the fucking best thing ever, but.
He's got to take a risk.
I go number 2.
4. Right.
2.
Right. Okay.
Oh no.
Arnold Schwarzenegger in Conan the Barbarian. You've seen that? That's like almost peak Arnie when he comes out is bodybuilding.
The problem is now, if I put him at number 1, I don't know what the other 2 are, and then I'm going to be...
You really going to put him 4 or 5?
I have to put him 1. It's Arnold.
1, right, okay. Gerard Butler in 300.
I mean, right, okay. I'll put him... He looks great, but also when I watched this film, I was like 12. So with this spray on abs and stuff, when you look at it,
he was fucking class.
Yeah, but you can't compare him to The Rock in terms of I'll put him at I'll put him at the bottom at number 5, just because I swear to God, if you've got John Cena on this list,
no, Sylvester Stallone in Rocky 4 when he's fighting Ivan Drago.
Yeah, obviously he's gonna have to go at number 4, but I would probably.
If you could reorder them now, so you've got, just for the audience, you've got 1, Schwarzenegger from Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah, I'd stick with that.
Van Damme.
Yeah, he's badass.
3, The Rock in Pain and Gain. 4, Stallone in Rocky 4, and 5, Gerard Butler.
I'd probably take Rocky, move him to number 2, and move the other 2 down.
Okay.
Just I mean, the Rock looks awesome, but his character in that is just a fucking bit of a dick, bit of a weapon, to be honest.
Yeah.
Happy with that.
Cool. Well, I think that's your final order. That's class.
Yeah, I'll take that. Thank you very much, mate.
Yeah.
Right. As always, guys, episode 37. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to our friend Nicole, legend, for going to our stoves and buying a stove, I guess. But yeah, MP4 0JL if you are interested in a stove or a log burner and keeping your house warm and keeping your bills down for the rest of your life. Thank you very much.